All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. That was a lot of information back. Thank you very much, Bart. It was a fantastic talk. We definitely enjoyed it, and I think we're going to go visit your repo and explore that more. But with us now, we have Veronika. Veronika, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good to have you with us. You're a Microsoft MVP in AI, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and not only that, you're also famous from Build.
I had my second of fame there.
Yeah. Well, in what way are you famous from Build?
It was a little clip from conversation between a couple of MVPs with Satya and Adela. It was right before Scott Hanselman's talk, but it was just a couple of seconds.
Wow. We're all very jealous. It's nothing better than being famous from Build. It even beats being famous from TV. So you should get a T-shirt that says that, famous from Build, and wear it with pride.
Maybe I should do it, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we are super excited to have you here. And today you're going to talk about ML.NET and chatbots, right?
Yes, that's right.
Perfect. And like any other talk here and stream, guys, anyone in the audience today, definitely just put questions in the chat and Twitch and YouTube, put them in the Slack community, and we'll make sure to ask Veronika after the presentation. And I think, Veronika, you may also maybe be in this Slack community as well if they have questions for you afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we are really looking forward to this talk, so I won't take any more of your time. The floor is yours, Veronika.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And today I'm going to tell you about chatbots and how to make them even smarter with the help of ML.NET. Here you can see my name and my Twitter handle. So feel free to find me on Twitter or LinkedIn. But I'm going to remind you about my social media a little later too. So let's move forward. And before we start, let me just tell you a couple of words about me. My name is Veronika Kolesnikova. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI. I have master's degree in information technology. I started my career as a quality assurance engineer, and then I moved to development. And now I'm mostly focused on back-end web development, but I'm really passionate about all Microsoft technologies, C#, .NET, Xamarin, machine learning, obviously. I really enjoy cross-platform solutions, whether those are Xamarin solutions or cross-platform bots. And my hobbies are dancing, traveling, and aerial yoga. So let's move to the content. What's a bot? It's a tricky question because bot has so many different definitions, and in different environments, it probably means different for different people. They all have different definitions. But in general, I think that bot is a software that can understand what your user wants and either respond with some information or perform some actions for them. I have lots of arguments with my colleagues about bots and virtual assistants. Are they the same? Are they different? Can we somehow relate them? And everyone has their own opinion about that. And my opinion is that bot is the same as virtual assistant. It's kind of in the base of virtual assistant skills. And for example, if you're using Microsoft offerings, and I'm going to mention those offerings later, you can see that once you create a bot, you can connect to different channels. And one of available channel is a virtual assistant, for example, Cortana. So here I have a lot of information that Siri and Cortana bots. We all remember Microsoft Clippy. Clippy is also a bot. And I never used the Smarter Child from AOL, but I know some people did use it, and maybe they liked it, maybe they didn't like it, but it is still an example of bot. And we can never forget about Tay. I know it is not something that Microsoft is proud of, but it was a great experiment that they actually put out there. If you don't remember, Microsoft created a bot. They put it out on Twitter, but the bot was learning from tweets. So it was improving, so-called improving, because it wasn't really improving. It actually got really bad in the end, and it went down really fast. At some point, the bot became really rude and racist and was posting really inappropriate tweets on Twitter. So Microsoft had to take it down. But for all of us and for Microsoft, it was a great experiment. And now we all know that you can't just let your boat float around social media and learn from all different tweets there. How to create a bot? There are so many different options. Every tech company can provide you tools, and they provide tools both for developers and for business people. So now you don't have to code to create a bot. Here on the left, I have some examples of available channels, but I'm going to mention it in a second. So let me talk about Microsoft offerings. Let's start with the bot framework SDK. I think that's the basis for lots of bots. If you like to create everything from scratch, you know, in most cases, you know what you're doing, you know what technology you're trying to use and how to create a bot, then you can just open up your Visual Studio, add all NuGet packages that you might need, and include bot framework SDK in your solution, and then just start creating a bot from scratch. You can host that bot on your local machine. You can host it anywhere else, on Azure, in other cloud provider, on premises, whatever you want to host it. It doesn't matter. You just start from your local and then move it to different environments. Next offerings is Azure Web App Bot. And you see word Azure, and you probably guessed that it's on Azure. So you can go to Azure portal and create the web app bot. So it will be automatically hosted on Azure. And also, it will have all the benefits of web apps and all the Azure offerings available. So you can connect the app insights, you can see what's going on with your bot, you can get the logs and all available information on Azure. You can download the base layer, like a framework for your bot right from Azure. So you're not starting completely from scratch. You have two options there, and that will be part of my demo. One option is you can connect it right away to Louis, that's part of the cognitive services, or you can create just the simplest Echo bot and then add things as you go. And next offering there is the Azure Bot Channels registration. Usually when you create Azure Web App Bot, it is automatically has an option to connect to different channels inside that resource. But if you're not using the Web App Bot from Azure, then you might want to create a separate resource that will be called Azure Bot Channels Registration, and register your bot with different channels. And now let's get back to that image that I have here on my slide. So those just some of the channels that you can connect to, like Skype and Twilio, Facebook Messenger, email, direct line, Cortana, different virtual assistants. There are so many different options there. It sounds really easy that you can connect your bot to different channels. So basically, you're building it once, and then you just connect in channels. But there's a trick. You need to remember and think when you're developing your bot solution how your users are going to communicate with the bot. Is it specific platform that people are more comfortable typing their questions in? Like a messenger. People usually type their questions and requests there, or if they prefer to ask questions using their voice, using speech. So like Skype and maybe Teams, they probably need to support speech recognition or some kind of processing of speech. So it is not really one solution will fit to all those channels. You just need to remember to include workarounds or some kind of checks how user is interacting with your bot. So that's really important to know. Next one here is the Microsoft Healthcare bot. I actually learned about it just maybe a year ago or so, but I think they've been working on it for quite some time. Microsoft Healthcare bot has that pre-built layer of machine learning, of I wanted to say smartness, because it has knowledge about some diseases, about some hospital terms and health terms, and maybe some specifics about when people are trying to connect to a specific doctor, that bot out of the box can recommend them something. I don't think that the bot can actually give a professional medical advice to people, but it can at least point you to the right physician. Also, that bot is HIPAA compliant, so you don't need to worry about that part, but it is still open and customizable. There is not one solution that can fit everything. So you can take the Microsoft Healthcare bot as your base, and then depending on what kind of project you're working on, what kind of clients you have, you can improve, you can update it, you can change something, retrain the models. So do whatever you need to do to make your bot custom specific to your client's business. And actually, Microsoft Healthcare bot is used on the CDC website for helping potential COVID-19 patients. So you can see how they integrated it on the website. And I know that there are several videos where they explain what they did there. So definitely check it out. Next one is a little more high level. Power Virtual Agent. It was released last year, and lots of people were able to check it out and test it. And during build, was it last week? I think it was last week. During the build, they really provided lots of information about Power Platform apps that are available, and Power Virtual Agent is one of those apps. So that solution is focused more on people who probably doesn't have any experience in development. They don't write code, so most of them are business people. But it is really easy to create a bot using Power Virtual Agent, and our underlying technology is still the bot framework. and still the cognitive services and some custom tools. But if you use a Power Virtual Agent, you don't have to write any code. It is all there. It's really easy to start. If you want to learn more about it, please check the videos from Build. They have several sessions there. And next one is the bot composer. That was also introduced during Build, but if I'm not mistaken, it was introduced for the first time during Build last week. Now they are working on connecting Power Virtual Agent and Bot Composer. And Bot Composer, it is mostly for developers. So you have several options there. You can use drag and drop options. You can use code options. You can combine those things all together. So you still have your files where you can actually write code and connect some pieces. And also you have UI that you can use. There are also several templates there that you can use. Template for virtual agent. You can connect it to different machine learning tools. It is all available. It is also easy to start, but that is more developer focused. And then the best part of every bot is machine learning. You can't really create a useful bot without machine learning. You probably can try to kind of work around it without machine learning, but then you'll have to write so many different loops and checks and lots of stuff. So better just delegate it to machine learning, create your custom model, train the model, and then use the model in your bot. So in the core of every bot is machine learning, unless it's like simplest Echo bot that you can download from Azure portal. And here I have the whole schema of what's going on in that bot / virtual assistant world in kind of the Microsoft related tools and the tools provided by Microsoft and channels and machine learning tools that you can use. I just basically grabbed that screenshot from Microsoft website from their documentation. I hope they are not angry with me for doing that. I hope it's fine. But you can always go back to GitHub. You can always go back to documentation written by Microsoft because they are great with documentation. I know it wasn't the case just several years ago. Now the documentation is amazing. It is so detailed. They have great examples online. They have templates. They have all the information. And then there are so many ways to communicate with developers from Microsoft, with the community. So it is awesome. Don't afraid just to go there and ask questions or learn something new about bots if you're interested. Here you can see that in the core of everything is the bot framework. And using bot framework, you are building your assistant. You can use cognitive services or you can use custom machine learning tools like our favorite ML.NET, or you can combine, mix and match everything, use cognitive services with ML.NET or with TensorFlow and other tools that you might like. You can connect to different knowledge bases. You can add different skills specific to your bot. You can also dispatch it to third-party assistant. You can dispatch it to a real person that can answer questions if the bot is not able to. You can connect to different channels. You can see it on the left. There are several channels like Cortana and Skype and Teams and all that fun stuff. And then you can accept different types of input, tabs, if you're using it on probably mobile devices. They can type, your end users can type their questions. They can speak, requesting information by talking to your bot. And also they can use your bot on different devices. Mobile devices, in their cars, at home devices. If you have Echo Dot from Alexa or some other devices from Google or Microsoft, then you can actually connect to your bot and use your bot on those devices. So now I mentioned it. I know it is not the first session of the event, so you probably saw something like that slide lots and lots of times. But if that's your first session, or you just need a little refresher about ML.NET, I'm going to tell you really quick that ML.NET allows us, C# and F# developers, train, build, and ship custom machine learning models. So I am super excited that I don't have to use anything hardcore like learn Python from scratch or other tools. Though that will be, for me, that will be a next step. I am definitely on top of that. I am trying to learn Python. But since I came from .NET and C# world, it's really easy for me to start with ML.NET using C#. And ML.NET can actually use different scenarios. So here I'm just presenting several of them. There are definitely more. And I'm sure you heard about it throughout the conference a lot, so I'm not going to repeat myself. And in the bottom is the link to ML.NET repository on GitHub. So if you have any questions, you can submit the questions, bugs. You can submit your PR if you know how to fix an issue. I'm sure that ML.NET team and Microsoft there will be super happy to have your code in their repository. And I know that that topic was mentioned several times throughout the conference, though I wasn't able to watch all the talks, unfortunately. But preparing data is very important for machine learning. Data is the key of effective machine learning, building an effective model. It is basically, garbage in, garbage out. So make sure that your data is up to date. It is doesn't have any bias. As less bias as possible. It doesn't have any missing values or some incorrect information. And there are so many different ways to actually prepare your data before feeding it to your ML.NET and creating a model out of the data. You can filter data, you can replace missing values, you can use different normalizers like minimum and maximum normalization, binding, remove default stop words like a, is, and other words, and other techniques. So some of those techniques they actually mentioned in ML.NET documentation, but there are lots of great books about machine learning, about data preparation that you can read and understand a little more what you need to do to build an effective model. And now let's move to the demo. Okay. So what we have for the demo, I kind of started from the back of it. Here I have Azure Portal, and here I already created a bot. But what you can do, let's go to and open the new portal. Hope it works. So you have your clean portal, maybe not so clean. Then you're creating your source. Here, what you do, you just type a bot. And here you have the several options. You will need a web app bot. We talked about it. There are other options to find it. It's in AI section. And you can read the overview, the documentation, the pricing details. Definitely make sure that the pricing level is working for you and your customers. And then you are creating a bot. But in order to create the bot, you need to fill in the form. You are putting bot handle, that's name of your bot, and subscription, that's your Azure subscription. Resource group, you can select existing, or you can create a new one. Location should be close to your customers. As close as possible, but then, if it outgrows, then there are other options that you can replicate and, use all the benefits of Azure to actually make it easier for your users to faster connect to your bot. And then there are pricing tiers, have free tier. It is not completely free, but it is really cheap. And then the premium layer. And here you can put the app name. And here's the fun part that you need to remember, the bot template. And that part was actually updated recently. So here you have lots of information, and it depends what kind of language you're using, if you're using CSharp or Node.js. And then you need to understand what kind of bot you need to create and what kind of template you need to create a bot. Definitely, if you created it and then you realize that it wasn't exactly what you wanted, you can change it and then publish it back to Azure. But here you have two main options: the Echo bot, that is just echoes whatever user types, and then the basic bot. It has connection to LUIS, language understanding intelligence service, part of the cognitive services, and bot analytics also available there. Virtual assistant, that is something new. That is a template that is available for you. You can't connect it through Azure portal, but you can download. The virtual assistant template. It's like an add-on from the marketplace that you can connect to your Visual Studio, and then you can use all the benefits of that template. Some lots and lots of information about the machine learning part that you can use. You can use LUIS, you can use Q&A maker, or you can just keep it all together and create your completely custom machine learning layer using just custom tools like ML.net. And here you can connect your application insights and choose the location. That is pretty straightforward. So you are creating all that awesomeness. Let me close that. It will take a couple of minutes, so I just want to save your time. You can definitely check it out, open your portal, try to create your bot, and if something is not working, something is not right, or you have questions, definitely let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Unless it's something specific to Microsoft and what they're doing with the bot resource. But other than that, definitely let me know, ask me questions. So that's what you're getting. basically. Again, lots of information here, lots of details, some design guidelines, and design. It kind of it gets kind of glared over because everyone, especially developers, who are so excited to jump in and start writing code, and sometimes we don't have enough time to think how it's going to work. Design is really important, and I know there are people who are actually professionally doing bot design. So they think about end users, they think how the bot is going to be used. They create sample dialogues. So when developer actually builds it, then we developers will understand how user is going to interact with the bot, what questions the user can ask, what answers he or she is expecting, what actions needs to be done. So that part is really, really important, and that should be done before actually jumping into coding, because sometimes when you didn't think about something important in the beginning, then it will be really hard to change anything there. So definitely think about bot design. That's important. And then, here the whole process is shown. You can build, you can test with emulator or a web chat. Then you can publish directly to Azure, connect to different channels, and then see the analytics. So all the benefits of Azure available for you if you're using Web App Bot on Azure. So here you have activity log. Here you have an option to test it in web chat. And then different channels. So by default, you already have web chat option. That's the basic option there. And then some featured channels, and then more available channels like Alexa, that is brand new. They released it at Build just last week. A direct line speech is also relatively new, but those two are super cool. I am really excited about those. And, all the basic stuff that I already talked about. Then you have speech priming options, some settings, the pricing tiers. But I skipped build because that's where we're gonna go now. And here you also have lots of text that you, if you're starting out with bots, you probably need to read. Lots of useful information, lots of examples, and how you can use the bot, how you can connect it to different tools. So definitely check it out. But a really good option here is download bot source code. And when you click on it, you just downloaded a zip file with that basic framework that you need to develop your bot. So you're not building it from scratch. You can get an emulator. You can install command line tools. Emulator is that pretty thing. It's called Bot Framework Emulator, and we're gonna go back there to actually test our bot on local machine. But you can always publish your bot to Azure and test it in that test in web chat. Okay, so download bot source code. When you click on that, you get in a zip file, and then you can just unpack it. I downloaded it just to save our time, because we don't have a lot of time. And I can talk about bots for hours and hours. So let's jump into that. That's what we are getting out of the box. You can see we have a lot of things coming from Azure. Lots of things that are already connected to Azure. Like you have a command for publishing it. You have app settings. You have controllers, so you are not building from scratch and then EchoBot, because I created just a simple EchoBot to show you how it works. So that's what you get out of the box. So yeah, that's the zip file. It is, yeah. So when you open your zip file, that's what you get out of the box, and you can build, add more functionality, add more dialogues, and work with your bot. What I did here, I added ML.NET. You probably know how to add ML.NET. I updated my Visual Studio just a couple of days ago, so now Model Builder is part of Visual Studio, though we all know there were some issues there, but I think they somehow got resolved. And here we have that machine learning option. So it doesn't matter if you build in just a web application, or you are building maybe Azure function, or you build in some kind of solution using Visual Studio or VS Code. You have that option to add machine learning there. And you can see that fancy screen with options there. Yeah, okay. So close that. You are selecting scenario here. I'm sure you've seen it several times, but it just looks super pretty. So I want to show it again. I really like it. We're gonna use text classification. That is really straightforward case, so it's easy to understand. And my demo is not about something fancy that you can do. It's just a way to show you that it's easy to connect custom tools, easy to connect your ML.NET model with a bot. And then you can build upon it. You can obviously update your model. You can use it in different ways. You can combine it with cognitive services and other tools. So it's like the whole new world when you start building your bots. So we here using text classification. We are getting information about my laptop. If you're interested, we gotta train the model locally. We're gonna use a file, and I here used that 250 line Wikipedia data. I noticed that 250 is not enough, so the model is not that awesome. There is another Wikipedia data file, CSV file, that you can upload. It has more data. I think it's 40,000 lines of data, so that one is more effective. But I have that one here, so we are opening it. We have data preview. We see that is showing the sentiment text, and then if it's 1, then it's toxic. If it's 0, then it's not toxic. We are predicting sentiment column, and obviously we have 2 columns here. So the sentiment text is the input column for future. And you train your model. Here you have scenario, you have the link to your data set. You can use this CSV file, the same that I'm using. You can connect to database. So there are lots of different options. You can update the time, depending the time for training, depending on your data. So it's totally up to you. They have a great article here where they explain how long should it take to train a model. And then you have an option to evaluate. So I'm not going to train it now because I'm sure you saw it several times throughout the conference. If you didn't, or if you have any questions, definitely let me know. We can, go over that together later because we don't have too much time, unfortunately. So when I trained it, I got 2 projects here. I got the model and the console app. The console app, I don't really need it. That is mostly for testing. What else? So here you can see that that's, same bot, the Alpha bot that I downloaded from Azure. And here I am just opening that Aquabot file if I want to add some machine learning tools and want to access my model. And that's the zip file that we all know and like that AutoML generated for us. It's ML.NET model. And we're using that model here. So we are creating the context and loading the model. Here I can show you how we get in the path. So it's really straightforward. And then then we create and predicting engine using the model input and model output from the project that was generated. And then we are providing as a sample input. We are using text that user types in to the bot, whether it's a web chat bot or if it's, if your user speaks to a bot, then you need to translate speech to text and then pass the text to the model. Unless, you create your model that supports speech. I don't think that it's possible actually, but you never know. And then actually here we are predicting using that sample data, and then we're using that prediction to return information. So the text, we're just repeating the text that was provided by us, provided to us by clients, by end users. And then if it's 1, then it's toxic, and if it's 0, then it's not toxic sentiment. That is very, it's pretty straightforward. It just shows you basically how to connect your model with a bot, so you can build upon on this example. It's like the base layer for you. And I can test it locally. So for that, I have Bot Framework Emulator, and you can just download it either using the Azure portal, or you can just find it online and download it. It's free. That's a great way to actually test your bot on your local machine. So let's quickly test it. So that's the typical URL that you probably have when you run your bot locally. App ID, there are cases when you don't need to use them on your local. In most of cases, you actually don't need to use them, but I do. So I go back to configuration on my portal, and I am copying. Oh, yeah, don't do it. Copying those values that we have here, the password, and the app ID, and I am inserting them here and connecting. Oh, yeah, sorry, missed a step. So what step I missed is that you actually need to run it in Visual Studio first. Since, it's web app, so that's how you usually test your web apps. You just run it. Here you have some logs. You can see that that's the local host I was using here. Here we'll start the conversation. Okay, hello and welcome. That is from our bot. That is that part here. So I didn't touch it. It is out of the box. And here we are typing something. So that is a non-toxic sentiment, and that is correct. So let's try something else. That is toxic sentiment. So that's what we got from our model that we connected to the bot. It definitely can be more sophisticated and should be more sophisticated, but that's just a base example. Again, see here you have all the details of what's going on with your bot. So you have enough information here. Also, you have some log here going on. So if something is not going correctly, check the logs here and in the emulator. That will definitely help you. And I think we are pretty much done. Here I have a couple of links for you that you can take a look at, check that documentation, connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm ready for questions.
Well, thank you, Veronika. That was great. Very informal. Informal, I guess. Informational. Awesome. Well, does anyone have any questions on the chat here? Feel free to post them here. We have a lot of compliments on the chat for a great talk. No questions so far, what I can see. Good talk, great talk. Crystal clear, yeah.
Awesome.
So what kind of conference do you have upcoming as well, Veronika? We talked about it briefly before.
Yeah, so I have a couple of things planned. I am doing presentations at a local meetup, which is online now. And then I am actually planning to give a talk at a meetup in I think it's somewhere in Africa. I forgot the name of the group, but I'm gonna post it on my Twitter. So that's exciting. I'm Africa to talk to people and to share some information with them. And then in August, I'm planning to virtually attend Codepalooza. I was so excited to go there physically, but unfortunately it's not possible. So I'll take whatever we have now and do it virtually.
Oh, that's a great conference. I spoke there last year, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
All right, the only question I have in chat here is, so if I understand it correctly, the bot is just an ASP.NET Core API?
So that is web app, actually, what I showed. You can use .NET Core, you can use framework, .NET framework. And you saw the options that you can choose CSharp or Node.js. So it doesn't even have to be .NET.
Okay. Great. And the other question we have here is, have you tried using models other than text classification with the bot?
I tried. Yeah, it works pretty good. It depends on what kind of interaction you need. So usually people, as I mentioned, several times, people usually communicate either through text by writing something or through speech. But there are sometimes cases when people need to submit an image or bot needs to perform optical character recognition. So in that cases, you can use other scenarios using ML.NET and other available tools.
Okay. Well, again, Veronika, thank you very much for speaking here at the conference today. We learned a lot. It was great.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And coming up now, we're going to have an interview with James Craig, who's using MLNet in his organization, and we're going to hear his experience with that. And following that directly, we're going to have Praveen come and talk to us about the data frame API. So stay tuned, and more will come soon. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. So I guess to add some basic context as well to what you're doing, can you tell us a bit about what your company is doing as well and where you're based?
Yeah, so I work for a law firm called Williams Mullen. We are in the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States. And